What's up guys, Melikan here from MKAU Gaming with another unboxing video. This time we're celebrating the release of Magic the Gathering Foundations, the classic Magic you know and love modernized for a new era of play. No matter the playstyle or experience level, Foundations has something for the past, present and future players. And as part of this release, they've got two new product lines, one of which you can see here. This is the beginner box, which includes 2 instant play decks, 2 learn to play guides, 8 jumpstart decks, and more. But it also includes the starter collection. So this here contains everything you need to build your own Magic the Gathering decks and establish a solid foundation to any Magic card collection, including over 350 cards with essential staples for any color and any way you want to play. Enjoy old and new favorites alike as you build your first or 15th deck with included tutorials and expert recommendations. However, that's not all. So not only did we receive these two, we were also given a few items that you would expect to see from any other Magic the Gathering release. If we turn that up the right way, I can then put more down. So we have some collector boosters. We have some play boosters. We also have one of our bundles. And then I think this is relatively new for me, not new for others, but one of their pre-release boxes. Now, what we're going to focus on in this video mostly is probably going to be the starter collection, the pre-release, because I'm really curious to see what's in here. And then this beginner box. I think this is going to give us a pretty good idea of what we can expect. So we're going to dive right in. We'll jump into the pre-release and we'll go from there. Alright, so kicking things off, we have our pre-release box. Now this one contains, what do we got here? 6 play boosters, a traditional foil card, which is also rare or mythic with a year stamp, 1 Magic the Gathering Arena code card, so we might be accidentally flashing something to give away here. If I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read the box here. And a spin down life counter. Now, the boosters that are in this are just your standard 14 card boosters. They are randomly selected cards. But the main thing people want out of these is the random card that is year stamped. So, if you manage to get yourself one of these, they are still currently available, even though this is released on the 15th of November 2024. There's still a few of these kicking around from what I've seen online booking quickly. And a lot of places are selling them for about $50, so not too bad considering it's 6 boosters, correct myself there, as well as a guaranteed foil with a year stamp. Alright, so we have a nice little box here that can be used to store our cards. We have, they call it a spin down counter. I call it a D20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. And then, because I don't want to accidentally give anything away without announcing it, we have a pre-release deck building guide, I don't know if you can read that because of my lighting. I do apologize. As well as this here, advertising what is available. And then we have this, which I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to be. That's all right, we have that. Now, I'm going to open this off camera. It is clear packaging, but there is a code here. So, before I show the code, we have Galta, Primal Hunger, which, just trying to get that to show up on camera. We've got our date stamp on the side here. That is, like that card. Put that down carefully. Alright, so let's do this giveaway first and foremost. So, one lucky person. It is a case of first come, first serve. However, if you have redeemed a code from these videos before, I do kindly ask that you don't redeem said code and give somebody else a chance to do it. Obviously, this is the internet. I can't really control that. But it would be nice if you could please, be considerate. And if you have redeemed it, please drop a comment down below just to say, yep, I've got it, just so that other people don't go and try. But first in, best dressed. This is for, what do we got? Use this code to unlock 6 Magic the Gathering Foundation boosters in Magic the Gathering Arena, which you can redeem or download and redeem at mtgarena.com. Now, remember, first in, best dressed. If you've already claimed one before, please give somebody else the opportunity to do so. And if you do claim it, drop a comment down below. Grab that code, punch it into Magic the Gathering Arena, and there's 6 boosters for you. You're welcome. Right. So, that's pretty cool. We've got our 6 play booster packs. I'm not sure what they retail for at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come to a little bit more than $50. And obviously, we've got our legendary creature, the Elder Dinosaur. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Very shiny. Moving on from here, we might go big because go big or go home. I'm going to grab knock the camera first. I'm going to grab the beginner box and get this tidied up. Okay, so here we have our beginner box, and this is quite weighty. So to give you a bit of an idea, as we said before, we've got 2 instant play decks. I don't know if you can quite read that because of the lighting. There we go, that's a little bit better. So 2 instant play decks. So they are 2 60 card decks. You've also got the 2 learn to play guides. You've got 2 play mats, which we can see here. We have 8 of the jumpstart decks. So they are, pretty sure they're specific boosters that when you open them up, they have a specific series of cards in there. Maybe mistaken on that. We will open one of those or a couple of those and have a look. And then 2 spin downs. So again, we've got 2 D20. Now, this one's wrapped in a little bit of plastic. I don't know if that's going to give us any decent ASMR. Let's have a look. do get a little bit from the box shaking. But sounds like there's quite a bit in there. So we'll pop it down here carefully. And we will gently lift the lid. Maybe. Got a little bit of suction. There we go. And we'll knock some cards off the bench. Okay, so what do we have here? This looks like some token creatures. What's this? Okay, yeah, so here we go, Jumpstart. Share instant battles with a friend, you shuffle 2 packs and play. So basically, what these are, as I said, is you'll get a series of cards in there that all sort of, they may be random, I'm not sure about that, but they're at least going to be from 1, maybe 2 mana types. And you can effectively just play a very quick small game straight out of the pack. We do have commander decks. We haven't been given one for this series because the idea behind this is that they're bringing back some of the older cards. So I'm almost hoping to see some slivers in here because they were. I won so many games with them in high school. It was awesome. We've got our bundle, which I've got over here. We've seen those before. We've got collector boosters, we've got our play boosters, and we've got our starter collection, which is sitting over here as well, waiting for me to get to it. But we have a lot of cards to get through here. But before we do, we're going to have a quick look at what's in the box. So if we'll pop this to the side, we have our rules reference guide. We have a quick start guide for the vampires deck. And we have a quick start guide for the cats deck. Ooh. Okay, these are our playmats. So these are card, and they unfold, and it's hard to do this on camera because of how close everything is, but they are actual proper card, nice and sturdy. Obviously don't get them wet, but nice and sturdy. Decent things to include in a start playing box. Only downside is I can't close it up properly. There we go. Okay. So there's one of those. What are these? Did I not read something on the box properly? No, I know what they are. Okay. Alright, there's our second one of them. And then we have this here. Sorry, I've just realized I'm taking that out on camera. Okay, it says magic that way. But we have this here, which sort of gives us a little bit of an idea on what each color deck does. And then, if we open that up, we have 2 decks, one of which says do not shuffle. And we have our spin downs. Now, what these are, now that I've seen them, looks like they are separators to slot in here to separate our different decks, as well as some stuff that I'm dropping on the floor again, and some tokens. These are, that one's single-sided. Okay, they're single-sided, +1/+1 tokens. Alright, so we'll pop these aside for the moment. Pop that there, pop that there. Try and get everything out of the way while on camera so that you know there's no strange cuts and I haven't gone and hidden anything, because I don't recall seeing any play boosters in here. But could be a similar situation to a unboxing video that I've recently done where we got sent a non-resale box. So that could be the case. I'm just trying to have a look to see if that is actually there. And I do apologize. I'll let you at least look at those for the moment. And I'm going to cut the camera so that I can double check and give you correct information. But for you, it's only going to be a moment. Alrighty, so I've gone through the boxes. There were no jumpstart boosters in there. Again, I suspect that is because it may be a pre-release or a media release, not for resale box. So, yep, you should be getting, maybe not. That looks like more than 60 cards. Yeah, that potentially looks like more than 60 cards. I was going to open this first, which is just some tokens and some reference cards, but I'm going to open one of these, and I'm going to go with the undead because I like undead. Because I'm now thinking that looks like more than 60 cards, so maybe it's not random jumpstart boosters, or maybe it is. I was somewhat expecting individual packets similar to this, but I may be wrong. So we have our undead deck first and foremost, which it doesn't say do not shuffle, but we're going to go through this and we're going to have a look at the cards anyway. And as usual, if there is something that you want to stop and look at, do so. Pause the video. I'm going to hold them up. If you want to read it, pause the video. I'm not going to stop you. But some of these cards are very much looking like they've got old school artwork, which is one of the things that I like most about Magic the Gathering, was the old school artwork. At least from when I played 20 plus years ago. Definitely some interesting cards in here. I would have picked that one for a plains land card, not a not a dead one. So while we're here, we'll go through these relatively quickly because they are land cards. Oh, now we've moved on to goblins. Ooh, maybe this is the jumpstart booster. Oh, that would make sense. Okay. Okay. That makes sense now. Right, so we'll find out for certain afterwards. But what it's saying, when we pulled this one out first, everything after this is undead cards. Right. I think. So what we should find, in theory, maybe there'll be 6 different ones of these. So that's everything we pulled from the undead section. Now if we have a look at our goblins. It would help if I showed the camera. It would also help if I didn't knock the tripod. And of course, feel free to pause the video, have a look at the cards, and of course, drop a comment down below. Actually, as I go through this goblin deck, when I was in school, one of the guys that I played with used to play a goblin deck, and it was full of fireball spells and all sorts of other nasties and explodey things, and they were all instants. So you just go, oh yeah, by the way, I know you're casting that, but I'm now going to cast this, and even though yes, your thing was successful, I've just blown you up, and you're dead. You lose. So that was nice of him. Ooh, you can't really see that one, can you? Anyway, so yeah, that was really quite nasty. Made for a very mean deck. And then we get back onto our land cards. So what do we got? We've got a couple of different types of mountains. So I'll show you that artwork first. And then we've got that artwork. And we've got one of those, another 2 of those, one of those, and another one of those. So I'll get this cleared up and we'll move on to Inferno. Right, so moving on to Inferno. We have the Terror of Mount Velis. Fiery Annihilation. The Fire Spitter Whelp. What do we got here? The Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind. The Dragon Lord's Servant. Fire Elemental. Dragon Rider, Kargan Dragon Rider, Rapacious Dragon. Can you tell I went to public school? Scorchling Dragonfire. Seize the Spoils. A Skyraker Giant. One of our tap it and it's whatever land cards. Sorry, no, you have to, it enters the game tapped. And as it enters, you choose a color. Well, there you go. And then we have some more of these mountain mana cards. So straight off the bat, we could almost build a full deck with our goblin friends here and dragons. But I'm going to get this cleared up and we're going to go through the next series, which is elves. Righto, so we have our elves, and just off camera, I quickly counted how many cards you get in per group. So there's 20 cards per group. So we have our Elvish Archdruid, Beastkin Ranger. Sorry, need to work on positioning that in front of the camera. Elvish Regrower. But this should give you a little bit of an idea of what you might find in a Jumpstart booster. So it's going to be something similar in terms of you pick up a booster and it's going to have a random, maybe random assortment of cards that you can sort of start playing with straight away. So I'm guessing random in that they will kind of work together and they're all a similar sort of theme, but obviously you still don't necessarily know what it is that you're getting. But so far, I'm really quite liking what I'm seeing here. So there's our two different land styles. And then just to show you, we have, so that's 7 land cards in total by the looks of it. I feel like the others were a little bit more even, but I could be wrong. But anyway, that was our elves. The next ones we're going to move on to, and this potentially looks like it could be the last ones, are Primal. Alright, moving on to Primal here. Our first card is an Aggressive Mammoth. Followed by Bite Down. Giant Growth. A Well-Mannered Librarian. Wildwood Scourge. a bear cub, biogenic upgrade, a druid of the cowl, Magnagoth sentry, New Horizons, Thrashing Brontodon, another Uncharted Haven, and then back onto our forests again. So it was very much a very, knock the camera, very heavy on the green and red, with a little bit of black in there for the undead. Now, I may be mistaken. I did have a quick look online just while I was sort of packing up. The jumpstart boosters or jumpstart decks may be a little bit different in these packs, but on the same token, still haven't opened this up. So there may be some extra things in here. But if it's 8 jumpstart decks, and a jumpstart deck is supposed to be 20 cards, we've got 5, and 5 times 20 comes to 100. But again, I could be wrong. I've still got that other pack to open up, and I should probably also cut so that you don't have to watch me tidy this up, because you've already done that once, but I've been talking, and for the most part, now it's too late. But since you hung around, let's open this up and have a little look-see. So, a fairy token and a zombie. Another fairy token and another zombie. So, we'll pop those two side by side. We have a goblin and treasure. We have another goblin and more treasure. So we'll pop these two side by side. And we have a cat. I don't know what's on the back of this one. It is an elf. But I don't, you know what? We'll leave the cute cat that side. And then, as I mentioned, we do have our reference cards, just helping you to go through the base game. So it looks like there's 2 sets of these. So we'll go there and there. And then we have 2 of these. So each player will have one of these as well. So we have attacking and we have blocking. But this time I will cut the camera because we're going to open this up. Before I do open this, just a quick intermission. Pop that off to the side there for the moment. So these things here, this is our card box, and they slot in quite nicely, just like that. And then what we can do is we can take our Jumpstart boosters, and we can drop them just like so to keep them separated and be able to quickly and easily grab which ones we want and go, all right, I'm going to play dragons and elves, and we now have a 40 card deck. Or we could then say I'm going to play dragons, elves, and undead, and we have a 60 card deck. So you could spice things up a little and randomly select packs of these, throw them together, and play with whatever it is you have picked at random. So yeah, quite like that. Thought that was cool. But anyway, we're going to cut again, and we're going to open that one up. Right, so I'm assuming that these are the instant play decks. I'm also assuming that it's 2 decks of 60 cards each. But I could be wrong. Because if this pack, if this box is supposed to have 2 decks plus 8 jumpstart boosters or jumpstart decks, might not be a full 60 card deck. I tried to read the box, and I think it's in Spanish. At least the bit that says what cards are in here, or what I can find in here. But we'll get this open, and this time we'll do it with a little bit of ASMR for you. We'll chuck the rubbish off to the side. So, as we saw before, our cats deck, do not shuffle. I'm just going to get rid of this so it doesn't actually blow back into the frame. So, starting us off, we have some Plains cards. And I'm just going to go through these relatively quickly, because otherwise this video is going to take quite a while. Alright, so we have 4 Plains cards at the moment. We then start moving on to our creatures. And as one might assume, it is very heavily themed around cats. We have Simba and Mufasa. I shouldn't actually say that. I shouldn't say that. But anyway. Oh, okay, so we are back onto some Plains cards. We have what almost looks like a mix between a Chinese dragon and a tiger. Try and line those up a little bit better so we're not using up so much space. Oop, and we're back to another Plains card. Ah, now I see why they don't want us to shuffle it. It was already pre-shuffled and ready to basically go. Because ideally, at least when I used to build decks, you'd have 20 land cards, and you'd have 40 creatures, spells, artifacts, enchantments, whatever. And effectively what you'd do for every 2 cards, you drop a mana card on there, and you'd repeat that cycle until everything was there, and then you would shuffle your deck. That way your land cards were less likely to appear like 7 at a time, for example, because nothing was worse than having a handful of land cards and not being able to do anything while people kept attacking you, or not being able to get the land cards. So that's why they don't want us to shuffle this, because they've already put the land cards in amongst the actual game cards. But it's too late now. But I suppose it is also a good thing that what they are trying to do with the Foundation series is they're trying to go back to the old school way of playing Magic the Gathering, but they're also trying to bring all the old editions back together, which is why some of these cards are reprints from previous series, because they're effectively trying to bring them back together so that players can do what we used to do at school, which was quite literally get a card from any series, put it together into a deck. There was only one series that people refused to play against, and I can't remember what it was for the life of me, but it was absolute cheese. But, right, so it's looking like we've got a sort of similar situation. So our Cats deck is a deck, because we're now up to our vampires. So I guess what they mean by the ready to play deck is they've already set it up so that the mana cards are spread out through. So we'll get this tidied up, and we're going to move on to the vampires here. So moving on to our vampires. We have a couple of swamps. We have some more swamps. Now, if we were playing this and not shuffling, we obviously wouldn't be pulling from here up. They'd be this way, and we'd be pulling from here up. But anyway, our vampire interloper. As usual, feel free to pause the video, read over the cards, but this should give you a bit of an idea as to what to expect out of this box. In fact, it should give you a really good idea as to what to expect out of this box, because I'm pretty sure the contents of this are predefined. So if you are going to pick up something like this, and if you are looking for specific cards, especially if you're looking for specific cards, this beginner box is probably going to be a really good way to get them, assuming that the card you want is in here. Ooh, I like the surrounding on that one. That's because it's an aura. There you go. Or at least I'm assuming so. I never used to do any of that stuff back in my day, when I was just a wee lad. Didn't dribble as much rubbish as I do now. But that's a story for another time. So we should be almost reaching the end of our vampires deck here. But I'm also feeling like these weren't put through the deck as well as what the Cats deck was. because yeah, maybe. I can't remember now. There we are. Yeah, you would have picked up 2 mana, depending on, I guess, how many cards you pick up when you're playing one of those quick start ones. You would have picked up 2 mana. You would have picked this up, which is it costs 3 mana to cast, 2 whatever, and one swamp. So it would have been 1, 2, and the way we used to play it, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you would have been able to play 2 of the cards until the very end. So yeah, okay. I don't necessarily think that one was shuffled too well or set up too well. Could be wrong. But we're going to move on to our healing cards next. Right, so moving on to our healing deck, or our healing Jumpstart Booster, I would just like to clarify that I was wrong. What this is, when they say the 2 ready to play decks, it is effectively 2 Jumpstart boosters that have been set up and are ready to play straight out of the box. You don't need to shuffle them or anything like that. You just dive right into the game. And it is not Jumpstart decks like this. They are, as we saw with these, I'm thinking that they are predetermined Jumpstart, or the equivalent, predetermined equivalents of Jumpstart decks that have not been ready or not been made ready to play. But it wouldn't be too difficult, because for all intents and purposes, if you are playing the Jumpstart way, all you would need to do is grab one of these Jumpstart boosters, organize it so that roughly for every 2 cards, every 2 creatures, every 2 artifacts, every 2 instants, for example, there is a land in there, and then shuffle them, and you're ready to play. Or alternatively, if you do want to create a deck out of specific creatures, you can then combine them into whatever it is that you wish to combine them into. So I feel like this healing deck, for example, would go quite well. Deck's probably the wrong word, but this healing Jumpstart booster would probably go quite well with the elves from earlier. And then we start moving on to our plains cards, which we should have 7 of. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And our next deck, or Jumpstart pack, is Pirates. Righto, moving on to our Pirates here. We've got our first Island mana cards. So they are the blue ones. And I have had a bit of a sneaky. The next ones are blue as well. But you are going to have to wait and see what they actually are. And I also still need to learn how to center things in the camera properly. But as you may be guessing, or may have realized, as did I, we do indeed have 2 ready-to-play decks and the equivalent of 8 jumpstart boosters, or jumpstart decks. I keep calling them the wrong thing. But they certainly did not give incorrect information. It's just I, probably like many other people, have not seen one of these before. And that would be because, as they say in the material they gave us, this is a new product line. And to be honest, I think this is actually a fantastic idea on their behalf, because it gives us a bit of everything. We've effectively got the equivalent of several decks, especially if you do play the Jumpstart deck way. That one actually goes there, because we've got those 5 from before that are down there in the box. We then have the 2 that are ready to play, and then we've got Healing, Pirates, and next is Wizards, which is another island deck, but effectively we've got 2 jumpstart decks from each mana color. But I'll get this tidied up. We'll get back on this. Okay, so lucky last are our Wizards, which was something that, if I remember correctly, the blue decks were really quite well known for. A lot of instants and a lot of spells and quite a few enchantments. I don't necessarily expect this to go that way, but they were sort of very much like the fire decks, or at least the fire decks I used to play against, where the fire decks were very much about damaging spells, and the blue deck, at least the ones that I played against, were very heavily focused on preventing your opponent from causing damage or preventing your opponent from being able to cast their spells. But that was a long time ago. Things could very well have changed. But as one would expect, some absolutely incredible artwork on these. I'm really quite impressed. But I do think we are probably going to wrap this video up, because I've still got a lot of cards to go through that we haven't even looked at yet, from other boxes that I need to open, and this video has already gone on quite long enough. But we are back onto our mana cards, same ones as before. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So there we have it, guys. That is our Foundation beginner box, or at least the cards you're going to get out of it, because the rest of it I have put back down and it's all away from me. But all those cards you just saw, plus the carry box, plus a couple of spinners, our rules reference book, our quick start guide for the Cats deck, our playmats ×2, and our quick start guide for the vampires. Just to give you a bit of an idea of what we're getting here. So this is our training deck. One of our training decks. It then details how we go about playing the game. So if you've only ever played Commander, which I never have, so I have no idea, this will talk you through the version of the game that I used to play. And then if we go a little bit further in, so we're still going through our turns here. Still going through our turns. Let's see, is there anything else in here? Because I do recall seeing something about recommendations for the decks. But it's not in this one. Perhaps it is in, maybe not this one either. Maybe I'm thinking incorrectly, because this appears to just be a rules reference. Anywho, we are going to wrap this video up. I'm going to get straight onto recording the next one, but you guys are just going to see this as the end of this one. And a huge thank you to Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering for this lovely little care package. It has certainly brought back some very fond memories of lunchtimes at school, especially with being so heavily focused on some of the older series cards and trying to bring back the original version of the game. Love the idea. Think it is fantastic. So really looking forward to seeing what else we can find in these. But thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. You should very soon, if not already, be able to see our unboxing video for the starter collection. If I can move some of this other stuff out of the way. Try and do that all while it's on camera. This is going to be opened in a additional video, as well as opening some of these booster packs and collector boosters. So we'll put these aside so that I can open those, because we have already gone through a lot of cards. And we will quickly open this one up so that for those who haven't seen it, you'll be able to have a look and see what you can expect out of this. Otherwise, again, thank you very much, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.